they do after that? The former chief has said that we
No, they
have
will beg, borrow,
only.
and steal. So there is no rationalizing once you go insane. You and I can try, but you can't rationalize with people who don't want to be rational. So they'll go hungry. Their people will die, but the Pakistani army will keep at it. As you've seen, if they were rational actors, they would have understood that yes, a terror attack has taken place and Indians have been killed in the most horrendous manner. We have terror camps, we know we have them. They have counter attacked our terror sites, so be it. That's it, we're done. But they just couldn't do that, and they probably still can't do it. But let me assume for a second otherwise. Ambassador Kapoor, is there any possibility, not knowing the full extent of what is currently going on, which I am assuming is probably larger than any of you and I can probably imagine at this point of time, because if an Indian counter is happening to such a large assault by the Pakistani Air Force, in which we have downed at least 3 fighter jets, which means that there were a lot more that came our way. But assuming that a full scale war has not already started, is there any scope left for this just to be a limited affair and stop here?
Well, of course, there is always a possibility to stop the actions at any point of time, because Pakistan is a nation which cannot run on its own fuel. It has very little fuel in terms of its capacities. So if the Americans, if the Chinese, and if the others, like the Saudis or the Emirates, they put down very firm statements that Pakistan has to stop, they have nowhere else to go. Turkey is about the only country which is currently fueling them or encouraging them to continue on this dangerous path in a very blatant fashion. But the other countries have to come out very, very firmly and say that you first committed very heinous acts of terrorism, very barbaric acts of terrorism, which cannot be tolerated in this modern day and age. And now you have to stop immediately, because they are dependent on aid, they are dependent on foreign support, and they cannot survive for any length of time without continuing support from outside. Thank you, Rishabh.
Do they have an intent of surviving for any length of time? I don't know. So I'll have to ask you the forward question, sir. Obviously, whatever is happening right now, and you and I don't know what's happening right now, but obviously the immediate goal is to reduce the ability or hopefully end the ability of the Pakistani armed forces to inflict attack and damage on India. That's our immediate aim. Should it be simply that much and nothing more?
Well, I guess that is very difficult for me to answer, Rishabh, in the sense that it's easier for the people who are in the know of things in India, who are taking all these decisions, to understand that better and appreciate that and respond to that. And for me, I think it's about time that everybody realizes that this problem of jihadi Islam, of political Islam, is not just an isolated problem, because their main goal is to, if something happens in US or Israel or Russia, the links are always traced to Pakistan also. So now, how do we stop this on a global scale with a global effort is what is the most important thing. So
Okay.
we have, while we keep on taking steps to deal with the current situation, we also have to look at the bigger picture and work towards that.
Okay, let me just update you for information which is of course still flowing thick and fast. In Poonch, air raid sirens are still sounding, blackout orders are still in force. We have been given an advisory that's told us that any reports that have been put regarding a suicide attack in Pathankot or Rajouri is false. There has been no such attempt in Pathankot and Rajouri. That is false news. We have also been told that other than the airports already delineated in north and northwestern India which are closed, all other civil airports are indeed still open and flights are assuming and resuming in good order. However, advisories have been issued by airlines including Air India, Akasa Air and others to arrive at the airport 3 hours before 3 hours before the flight. This is for all flights, including domestic flights. You're also being told that if you have a handbag, please keep it restricted to 7 kilograms, and there will be secondary checks taking place at all airports across India. So, there is going to be increased security. Baggage restrictions will be in force, which will be probably be slightly stricter right now, and please arrive there a bit earlier. If that changes at any airport, we of course will be right here to inform you. But right now, if you have a flight to catch, airspace in India other than the north and northwest is indeed open. I am assuming an educated call has been taken to leave it open. It's not incidental like somebody forgot about it. The Civil Aviation Ministry is communicating to us. So, they are up and about, and I am sure they are getting a briefing on what they are supposed to be doing right now. So, the airports are open, but because of secondary security measures, you are requested to arrive there a little bit earlier. But let me put that same question to then Sumit. Sumit, I began this with you, so let me come back to you on this as we absorb more in developments coming in. Now, it seems to me that in the last hour or so, whatever the first wave of the Pakistani attack was, has happened. Now, I don't know if a second wave is going to happen or a third wave is going to happen, I don't know. But from on the ground, there are still people who can hear explosions, but the initial sudden burst of from all along the IB across several cities, we are getting the similar kinds of visuals being sent by local people of a blackout with what looks like fireworks in the sky. They are literally bursting in the sky like a starburst, and what look like rockets, but are obviously a different kind of one, and we saw a lot of them. It's quietened down a little bit. We can definitely tell you that explosions have been reported in Lahore, multiple explosions have been reported in Lahore. So, something is going on. There is a little bit of calm right now, but again my question is, should you think that our current aim is to merely prevent Pakistan from now carrying out another wave of such strikes, or should we have a larger aim?
I think first things first is to dismantle Pakistan's capability of attacking us, then dismantle the complete infrastructure of Pakistan army. That will be the ideal thing to do. And Rishabhji, as you were talking to the other panelists, I got a few texts from my friends in Punjab and Chandigarh and Panchkula. They're saying it's a blackout. Some sirens are going there. And it looks to be that, as some people are confirming, that even Karachi is now under fire. Karachi harbor is under fire. So India is
that is not verified, so I'm checking on that. But yes, that has been circulating for the past 1 hour. But let's check on it. I promise you, there's an information vacuum. We'll have to respect the information vacuum, because I can't be reporting to you, yes, the Indian Navy has just started bombing Karachi. Obviously not. Okay, so just respect. We will have to respect it with patience today. Sumit, carry on.
So that is what is. So immediately, you see, I think, Rishabhji, they will come once more, because that is what it looks to be, because sirens are still going on. Blackout is not back to normal, because if there was a report or an intel, nothing more is going to happen. They would have restored the electricity. Grids have still brought down the electricity, and even in Chandigarh and Panchkula, it was imposed at the grid level. So more and more of our cities are getting into blackout. So that means they're planning something big. So the immediate priority would be to stop this. How you can stop this is possibly open some more fronts for them. When they will see implications coming to Lahore, Islamabad and Karachi, that will be the best step for them to kind of go back and protect their backyard rather than thinking attacking us. Once you're done with that, then you have to make sure this complete infrastructure is dismantled. There are videos, Rishabhji, on social media wherein Asim Munir is seen talking to his men and saying, "Tum Allah ke sipahi ho, ye Allah ki jang hai. तुम्हें कोई नहीं हरा सकता, शहादतें होंगी पर काफरों को नहीं छोड़ना है." I mean, these are the kind of videos which are everywhere available on social media. Anybody can see them. So you are facing, what I was telling you, a radicalized jihadi mullah who wants to go to his 144 routes, possibly 70 into 2, 72 into 2, and that is what you are facing. So he is trying to say it's a war of Islam. So rather than war of protecting terror, it is slowly becoming a war of Islam, and we are the infidels. हम काफर हैं और काफर को मार के ही जन्नत मिलेगी.
Now what you do to convince or in a different terminology, brainwash people to fight for you,
Yeah, yeah.
in what is expected to be a losing cause. Remember, the Pakistanis have lost every engagement. Even the foreign engagements, when their generals and troops were conducting in Yemen recently, they lost there also. So, as an effective fighting force, to win, probably not. Can the Pakistani forces cause damage? Of course they can. So let's not say that everything is going to go wrong for Pakistan and यहाँ पर not a single a shot will be felt. Let's not be naive enough to assume that. We'll have to be practical enough and courageous enough, and I don't think we are short of either practicality, pragmatism or courage at this point of time. But let me quickly get in General Bansal back in. General Bansal, I'm sorry to pick the point as I am, but obviously the immediate goal is to eliminate Pakistan's ability to do this. That if they are indeed having launching bases, missile silos, launch silos, airfields, but should our ability be restricted to that, or are we even beyond that point?
Agree with you. Definitely, we have to eliminate their capabilities. Now, it will be maybe a little easier because they do not have much air defense system, and whatever Munir is preaching to his soldiers, it does not work in the present scenario because it is not one-to-one fight. It is now the fight of the weapons, and the country who is having the better weapons or sophisticated weapons, the better protective measures can be on the will have the upper hand. But definitely, this is the time that what you have rightly said, the weapons, the silos, and everything, wherever it is, it should be first attacked, damaged, their capabilities to be reduced, and then only they will calm down. And as one thing I see in the world these days, nobody is bothered, concerned for anybody. Now, this Pakistan has to think whether they want to absolutely get wiped out because the Baloch is coming from that side, or they want to just have something, whatever they are having. And the military, now this time, I think civilian, they will teach a lesson to the military and whatever they have done. Here, one thing I would like to tell, as you have very rightly said, given some message to a countryman, the one message could be that we must economize our resources, whether it is fuel and otherwise, so that at this juncture of time, these resources can be utilized by our armed forces, and there should not be any kind of scarcity in that way. That is the one thing. And whatever in a particular area, they must follow what the
Okay,
instructions.
let me just
And
update you to what information is flashing at the bottom of the screen. The NOTAM, which is a terminology for how the civil aviation authorities and the DGACA communicate with airports and airlines. This NOTAM has been issued now to 24 airports across India. These include airports in Punjab, Gujarat and Rajasthan. The contents of the NOTAM I will just be sharing with you. Airports along most of India are still open. We have a further update which is coming our way, that and this we have reported to you already, but the Home Minister has also spoken to the DG of the CISF, which is the Central Industrial Reserve Force, and asked them to ensure security at the airport. So, they have discussed enhancing airport security. There is more information coming our way, and this is coming again from Poonch, which has seen the worst of the artillery shelling over the last couple of days. And let me put that question to General Bansal. We've just lost him. I'll come back to him as soon as we can. On why it is. General Bansal, why Poonch? Because for the past 48 hours, the maximum amount of shelling is being reported and counter shelling in Poonch. Why Poonch?
that is the most vulnerable area, and where this all kind of shelling is coming, and there had been the earlier also death of the 13 peoples and many injured. So that area need to be more assistance protection, and that is in the range of direct fire. There are other places where they are putting cells, they are putting missiles, they are putting drone, where it can be through this protection through this S4 and other air defense system. That kind of facilities, maybe the direct fire has to be our artillery fire has to counter it. and the ground forces has to play an important role in such a situation. Back to you,
Okay,
sir.
all right. Sumit, I just want you to come in. Ajay is going to be joining us very shortly. I'm getting more information that very heavy fire and counter fire is taking place in Pooch right now. So there was a lull, but lull does not mean zero. It just means there was slightly less. And Sumit, just now, I'm trying to examine the larger issue here because there are a lot of people who are not exactly going to know what's going on, and there's no way of immediately finding out. So if you are in these frontline places, what is the reasonable advice to give? Do you just carry on life as normal, or do you hunker down? What do you do?
I think if you look at these border areas, what we have done, Rishabh, they were bunkers of 1971. They were not used since then. We have reinforced them. Now, these are a concept called Modi bunkers. I think 21,000 or more than that bunkers have been built in. They have been already filled with food stock and water and necessary supplies. When the sirens and all go up, a lot of people are advised to move there, keep them there. Even in Uri and other bordering areas, we have arranged buses and trucks to make sure we are able to move civilians to safer places. Because what unfortunately Pakistan is doing, Pakistan is targeting civilians. They are targeting our schools. They are targeting the civilian population. They have even targeted a Gurdwara in Poonch sector. So that is how Pakistan is going to behave like this, rather than targeting Indian military and the army, where they will get a befitting reply.
Sumit, stay with me. It's going to be a long night, obviously. I want to get Ajay back in. Ajay is just going to update us, and for people watching the broadcast, I'm just going to step out to make a few phone calls. I've been sitting here for 7 hours. I want to speak to a few people to get some update, to better reorient myself on the gravitas of what is going on. I'm going to come back in a few minutes. Uday is standing by to replace me for a few minutes. Then I'll come back to all of you. Ajay, meanwhile, what is happening? What can you report from the ground, which is patently obvious?
Rishabh, right now I'm standing here in Jammu city, and where this massive attempt from Pakistan took place, in which missiles and drone drone basically came, and it was attempting to target a vital installation, but it was spoiled because of the anti-missile, anti-drone system here. But now the fresh input says, the Rishabh, that Pakistani army violated ceasefire in the Sabziyan sector of line of control, which is touching, Shopian district near the, in Pir Panjal, and heavy shelling is going on. Once again, Pakistan is trying to target the civil population there. Indian army, no doubt, that is retaliating very effectively to the Pakistani firing. But since yesterday firing, in which 13 people have lost their life in the Pakistani shelling, people, those who lives over there, they were shifted to the safer location. But still, there is a there is a fear among the people, because Pakistan is targeting the civilians deep inside.
Absolutely, Ajay. Of course, Pakistan clearly violating ceasefire there. Continuous shelling, of course, being reported from those particular spots along the LOC.